Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and welcome to a little episode where we're going through the looking glass into some strange alternative universe where you have to wonder if reality is breaking down. It is very, very weird. There is a man who is possibly the worst politician in government at the moment. And no, we're not talking about Keir Starmer. We're not talking about David Lammy. We're not talking about Angela Rayner. We're not talking about Rachel Reeves and so on. There's loads of them that are all awful. But we are talking about one man whose very presence in the cabinet is anathema to decency. He should not be there. Talking about a man called Richard Hermer KC. He's King's Counsel, he's a barrister, was a barrister, and he is now the Attorney General. And he has got a very weird history. He's a strange relationship with Keir Starmer. They've known each other for many, many years. They're good friends. They came through law together. They went through the bar together. I don't mean like, getting sloshed. I mean like the legal bar. Although when you look at the some of the decisions and things he's saying, you wonder if he isn't sloshed. He's a man whose views seem to be at odds with decency, with reality. And he is someone to whom Keir Starmer turns on a very regular basis for advice, and not just legal advice, but political advice, personal advice, all sorts of advice. Of course, the trouble with Keir Starmer is he doesn't actually put in his cabinet anyone who's good. He just puts in people he likes, with the notable exception of Angela Rayner, but he's got no control over that one because she was politically appointed from the Politburo, wasn't she? He can't do anything about her. But everyone else is all a chum here and a friend there, and somebody he likes over there, somebody he trusts, but no one that's actually any good at their job. And then, of course, we have this guy, Richard Herner. Now, Sir Keir Starmer, it is said, has trusted Hermer to give him open, fair, unbiased advice, but truthful advice, unblinkered by sort of oleaginous sycophancy. No buns for elephants. He'll tell him straight, sort of thing. No favourable interpretations. He'll give him flat interpretations. But as they're both human rights lawyers, they both have a very weird outlook on what the law should be. And Hermer has accumulated a collection over the years of some very dubious clients and some very dubious cases. And some of these are the sort of things that really shouldn't sit comfortably with a man who's in the cabinet. But in the cabinet he is. Now, he's a lord. He was appointed a baron, and so he's only in the cabinet as a gift of Keir Starmer. You can't vote him out. You can't vote him in. Can't do anything like that because he's a lord, therefore he's in. But he's just been put there by Starmer, who wants this guy there. Now, this guy has previously said that the government should downplay anything, tweets and Facebook or anything like social media that boosts or backs Israel. He wants to make Israel out to be the bad guys, even though it was the Gazans who came into Israel to slaughter the children, rape the women, and take hostages. So he's on the wrong side of history there. He's also the one that's behind the push to get rid of the Chagos Islands. Again, anti-British, wrong side, wrong think. Very, very weird. Some very tendentious views with regards to British security, for example. one of the worst things, of course, is that he represented Gerry Adams. Gerry Adams, of course, head of Sinn Féin IRA. And while there was terrorist investigations going, Gerry Adams was interned under the terms of those investigations because they didn't want him communicating with his terrorist friends. Now, the Tories, many years ago, 2003, I think it was, passed a law saying that no ex-terrorist or terrorist-related or terrorist-adjacent will ever receive compensation from the British government. And since the victims of IRA terrorism aren't getting that compensation either, they say, well, they're not paying one and not paying the other. This guy, Hermer, has taken Gerry Adams as a client in order to fight this. And it's to give and make sure that Gerry Adams gets compensation paid for by the British taxpayer. And not just Gerry Adams, but 400 terrorists are to be compensated by the British government, by Keir Starmer's government, because Starmer hates Britain so much and he'll always side with Britain's enemies. And so while these terrorists are likely to now to get this compensation, despite Starmer coming out saying, I'll do everything I can to stop it, he won't. He's encouraging it. So you can guarantee that these terrorists will get this compensation. But the victims of terrorism, their families, they'll get nothing. That's Richard Hermer. Now, we know Hermer represented him when he was being sued, separately when he was being sued by victims of IRA bombings, and now he's working towards getting this compensation for him. His presence in government has been keenly felt for some time, ever since he was sort of parachuted into the job, accepting the role of Attorney General. And he's the first person since 1922 to take that role without ever serving in Parliament. And of course, immediately he had all those riots that he had to deal with after the murder of the 3 little girls in Southport. And it was his advice to Starmer to say, lock these people up. Oh, look, somebody said some naughty words on Facebook. Lock them up. People who are righteously angry, lock them up. People who are telling the truth, tell people that they're lies and lock them up. And then when those lies turned out to be true, and what people were saying were true, he refused to allow those people to be released. This is the man who's our Attorney General, a man who is corrupting and perverting the laws of this country, a man who is making a mockery of justice, a man who is backing terrorists over decent people, and a man who, for some strange reason, our Prime Minister is totally beholden to, so far as he's kissing his arse as much as he can. He was deeply involved in the decision to withdraw the UK's objections to the arrest warrants of Netanyahu. And he said that he had that obligation under international law for the Chagos Islands to be returned. And he's vetoing policies left, right and centre that are actually nothing to do with him. But he's doing so because he's got the ear of Keir Starmer. He is giving direct instructions to elected politicians rather than the other way round. This is the country we're living in. That is our Attorney General, a man not voted into power and yet who is wielding power undemocratically. Let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye.